Hey all, Paint Marine here, and finally here with the, I guess the second quarter finale of this challenge, and wow, what a great challenge this was. Very close, um, just really great. Again, apologies for like kind of the delay, and I mean, I've been trying to get to making this video for a while. The judging's been done for a good while, um, but like I said, just with everything going on in the world right now, and like with my job and what I do, things have just been ramping up, and it just keeps getting busier, busier. And even if things weren't all crazy in the world anyway, this is just a busy time of year for my job anyway. So it's just super busy and lots going on. But finally getting to making this video and getting this out there because I got to show the great work everybody did, and then go into announcing the next quarter and everything. So first thing I'll get right off the bat is announcing the next quarter. Now, I had kind of broken up how I wanted to do the rest of the kind of factions. I had Chaos, Xenos 1 and Xenos 2, and kind of broke them down that way. So I've decided to go for quarter 3, which will go from today being July 1st, so July to the end of September, which there will be some more details on the rest of that in a minute. But it's going to be Xenos 2, and Xenos 2 group includes the Necrons, Tyranids, Orks, and Genestealer Cults. The reason why I wanted to go with that is we just got some Ork releases. Granted, it wasn't like a bunch of new kits. It was mostly just Grass Coal, and then the new Necron stuff coming out. And so for that, for the initial entry deadline, that date is going to be July 31st, which is a Friday. And the reason why I'm pushing it to the end of this month, because normally I do about 2 to 3 weeks, usually about 3 weeks, or 2.5. But the new Indominus box set comes out on the 25th of July. And so that gives people about a week if they're trying to do a Necron conversion. They want to use some of the new kits coming out to do something. At least the ones in the Indominus box set. Gives you about a week to use those kits or those pieces or parts that you may want to use in your entry. Like before, I'm going to limit the base size. I'm going to limit this one to 60mm bases. And again, it can be any character or model from one of those factions. Just cannot be like a whole unit or a vehicle or like, obviously like a super monstrous creature, which should kind of alleviate that with the base size stuff, but just so there's no question, ideally nothing too crazy. Although I can see some Orc characters because, as they fight and win, they get bigger and stuff. But anyway, yeah, so 60mm, and like I said, if you have like a bunch of boys or Necron warriors or whatever it is that you may have converted a bunch, like a whole unit of, just pick one of them, your favorite one, your most converted one, your best work, whatever, and that'll be your entry, not the whole unit, just one from that unit. And again, so that'll be July 31st, the entries for the third quarter, initial wave will be done, and from there I'll compile, go through, and pick the top participants to move on to the next round, where they will be given a set of parameters to create whatever it may be, and then from there get judged and win the gift voucher for the Games Workshop web store. So, and that's the $100 US. And if you're in another country, then it will get converted into whatever your local currency's equivalent of 100 US is. So, for some, it may be more or less depending upon what the exchange rates are at the time. But anyway, yeah, so that is that for that quarter. But yeah, so let's get into this quarter, second quarter. So the challenge was, it was a chaos theme. So everyone submitted their initial models. So that'll be the first thing you'll see here after my face disappears. Will be the name of the person who submitted the model, and then their initial entry model. And then from there, I'll go into their actual final submissions with some of the kind of comments and things from the judges and stuff like that. This one across the board was way closer than last quarter. And like I said, it just keeps getting better and better, for sure. Like I said, it was a really tight race last time, and again, really no different. Very tight, very close amongst all the participants. So the final round this time was to create a chaos sorcerer in their own style, basically. And again, they were kind of similar, as in they were kind of like all a Thousand Suns each kind of theme feel to them, which makes sense, as I feel like they have a bit more of the psychic and sorcerer style, I don't know, powers or whatever you will to them. But yeah, but still very unique and very cool, for sure. Yeah, it was definitely a rough one for this go around, and I assume it'll be probably the same thing going forward, because there's so many talented people submitting, and I definitely am very appreciative and thankful for everyone that's been participating. It's really fun, and I'm glad that I'm able to engage with the community this way, and again, kind of support other people in the hobby as well, as we go forward. So, all right, without further ado, let's jump in and see the initial ones, and then after that, it will go right into their finals and some explanations of things kind of that we're seeing, good and bad, and then the final announcement of the winner of this quarter. So, all right, we'll see you in a minute, or you won't see me in a minute, you'll see their models in a minute. Okay, first up we have Ben Woodford. So, right off the bat, judges were very keen, and all the kind of, the work and conversion that was done here, trying to pick out all the little things going on here. Obviously, if you want to start at the bottom here, it was, the base was great. Now, not a lot of emphasis is put on the base, because the main part of this challenge is the actual conversion of the model, but the base can add a lot of story and tell kind of a story on behalf of the model, which is kind of it is part of what is on the kind of rubric that the judges use, or the grade sheet. Now the final contestants don't get to see the actual rubric grading sheet, and that's not to any disadvantage to anybody, because the parameters are set out pretty straightforward, but it's just more, I guess, to help the judges with keeping it the same across the board. So the base here, was just definitely one of the, I guess, the favorite of the judges. But like I said, it isn't necessarily, definitely wasn't what caused them to gain any more points over anybody else. But that was definitely something that was mentioned by one of the judges, is just how much they really appreciated the base and what was going on there. The next thing it looks to be is that the there is a lot of parts used on this model, but unless you're very keen as to what all is going on here, it's actually pretty seamlessly done. Although it seems like, you know, they got a lot of trophies and everything else done, it looks still like a cohesive model, which was something they definitely liked and pointed out. Because I mean, as you can see, like this looks all like it could just be one model altogether. Like you could probably pick this up as a kit, but it is in fact not a kit. Now, it looks like it was a Primaris model that was used as, at least for the feet. This looks to be some sort of Terminator torso, would be my guess. And then again, it looks like some Primaris arms were kind of used and then added, or maybe this might even be a Stormcast, actually. And again, we have this cool kind of energy effect, like it's using the psychic power. The helmet. Now, I'm not sure the back part, if we look on this one here, if this is from like a Chaos set, and then they used a I'm sorry, Age of Sigmar Chaos set, or what exactly. But yeah, and then of course it looks like a green stuff kind of cloak going on, and then the really awesome staff, which again I believe this is a Age of Sigmar staff here. I could be wrong, but overall, just the main thing here was the seamlessness and the amount of parts used. That it was very well put together as far as not getting too crazy busy, but with making it look like I said, like it still all fits well together. Sorry, trying to read the different notes and stuff I have off to the side from the different judges is kind of I don't know, little difficult right now. So the only real kind of negative thing, which is kind of a weird thing to say it's a negative thing though, kind of goes back to the base, because it is so well done. It is slightly, I guess, distracting with everything else here going on. If you had more of a, I guess, less of a base, it would definitely bring the attention focus back on the model. But like I said, like that was just one kind of critique opinion there. But the other was more that it just really helps kind of seamlessly tell a story of, you know, they're potentially, you know, this could be some sort of, you know, when I look at this, it's almost, to me personally, I see it more as like it's almost like a dungeon kind of feel to it. You know, like they're on some like Diablo style dungeon room kind of thing, or something like that, and then you walk in and this is the guy that you gotta face. So okay, well, that is Ben Woodford's very awesome entry. Alright, so next up we have Brandon I think it's Longest. Hopefully I said that right. Again with his Chaos Sorcerer. And now this one's really unique and cool in the fact that this is a jump pack sorcerer, and definitely done in the Thousand Suns style. And then with a very cool dynamic kind of pose here of him kind of leaping off or taking flight, and with, you know, the kind of debris and the Primaris helmet and all that. So very cool. And moving on to the next, so more kind of just shots, angles. Now again, judges thought great conversion, looks awesome. The only, I guess, kind of big thing here that I don't know, I say big thing, but the only kind of critique was just it was a good seamless conversion, but not the appearance of, and this is kind of a weird thing. So they're saying basically not an appearance of any obvious, not obvious, great. I'm trying to think how they worded it now. It was more not that it wasn't great, but that the I guess the conversion and modification wasn't to a higher technical level, meaning they didn't necessarily combine pieces to make uniquely new pieces, or there wasn't any major converting, I guess, done past essentially what appears to be a well done conversion kit bash, where you get a bunch of different parts and just put them together, versus some of the other entrants where there was like definitely obvious splicing of kits that don't normally fit together, I guess, is probably the more proper way to say that. Where all this is like, for the most part, like you get the different pieces, they might be from different kits, but they go together pretty well for a pretty straightforward conversion. But aside from kind of that critique, it definitely got high points and high remarks in the very cool dynamic posing, and kind of just the menacing feel of this really cool, what I assume is a Thousand Suns sorcerer kind of leaping into action. Okay, here we go with another entry, the final entry. This was by Thomas Hammond. He also goes by Respin on, I'm not sure if it's a thing on Instagram. I don't recall now, but so yeah, so very cool. So now we have kind of a combination of things that we've kind of seen in the other entrants, which I found very interesting. We have a jump pack guy here, a Thousand Sun thing, and this is a video as well, so I'm going to rotate a little bit. So this has, so from the judges, it definitely has some very cool, I guess, or unique basing, and kind of definitely tells a story. So you definitely got max points on the story aspect of it, but it was also kind of confusing as to, like, what's the story here? Like, why is this other demon thing killing him? Did he manifest him, and so now he's killing the sorcerer that manifested him, or what exactly is happening with that? So, but yeah, again, we kind of have this kind of like your standard, straightforward kit bash. It got some just standard, looks, this were the sanguinary guard legs, and just some arm swaps, jetpack or jump pack, chaos jump pack, whatever those are called, and then you have the guy falling and all of that. Now, again, like, they definitely appreciated the very cool story of this, but at the same time, kind of like, what's exactly the story? Why is this thing attacking essentially what you think is an ally, or are they? I mean, they could be two completely different chaos armies, because they're not, they're loyal to kind of no one, kind of a thing. And then, but like I said, they definitely got high marks for the story and the basing aspect of it. But where I guess the kind of the critique loss was more in, aside from like this really cool, I guess, kind of spear thing to give him the appearance of flight, the, I guess, risk taken in the conversion was a little, I guess, less than others. And the kind of safe road was taken a little bit more, which isn't bad for sure. I mean, it definitely, another one says, like, again, they got high points for very seamless conversions, but again, kind of more of a safe route taken on these. So yeah, this is really hard to, again, like I said, to kind of put together all of the different views and kind of just pick out some of the positives and negatives here. So let me come right back. Alright, so for this one we have Stuart Myers with his sorcerer. And like I said, I think this is to be like a Zeech sorcerer, and this one is very cool. Again, so when it comes to the judging, like there's some guest judges that I have that come in. I go with 3 judges, and I myself don't judge or come in with any grading unless there's a tie and I need to break a tie between the judges. But the way that everything's set up is it's pretty hard to get a tie. You can get pretty close, but it's actually pretty impossible to get a tie, other than, well, not impossible, but really hard. I'll say that. Because we definitely had a tie last cycle, last quarter in second place. But this one, for me personally, was probably one of my favorites. I liked them all. They were all great. But I just like kind of the different take on this one. When this one came in, I did not expect this one. Now, this one's a video. I'm going to just kind of use this because it's a short video, so I don't want to miss out on anything. But I really liked, the podium. He's got like a sorcerer spell book or whatever. And just like he's casting from a podium. Maybe he manifested that podium himself to, put his book on. Very cool. Now, this appears to be a similar part that we saw on the last jump pack guy. I'm not sure if that's that. Cause I remember all that, but yeah. So I'm not sure what parts were used on this guy. It definitely is very cool. I don't know if this is already a model. I kind of tried to look to see if this was, or what parts of these were used. I really couldn't figure it out, which is really cool. Like, it's either just a base model that I can't really find, or it's just that good of a conversion that it looks like it could be like a legit model that you could just buy and build, but you can't because it doesn't really exist. So I'm not sure. Maybe let me know in the comments below. But yeah, so again, judges really loved it. Kind of the same things that I just mentioned, as far as the podium and the posing and everything. But I guess the only critique, and again, judging in general can be very subjective. It was just more of, I guess it wasn't, I don't know how to, I guess, flair, to say the least. I mean, like, again, like, I really like, you had this cool bird skull right here. Like, I don't know if that was added by him or what, but I guess in comparison to some others, just, I'm not sure what, but it was missing a little bit more of the wow factor to it. And that was the only kind of critique there. Just needed more objective, or sorry, not objective, subjective, or I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying more. But needed more, I guess, of this elusive wow factor or whatever. That. So I don't know. I mean, aside from maybe if there's some way to have like a spirit or something coming out of the book, maybe that might have been something, or maybe even like kind of like this candle. Maybe it's like manifesting something out of the candle or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, Stuart Myers, great. I really liked it. Really cool. But again, like I said, these are all very close, and I'm not doing these in any kind of order as far as like worst to best or best to worst or anything. And I'll announce the winner at the end. I think this has just been in pretty much alphabetical order. For the most part, or maybe it was the order I received the entries in. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, so hopefully you're able to kind of follow along on a lot of that. Like I said, it was kind of hard to kind of pick and choose kind of the positives and negatives from all the different feedback. There wasn't, like I said, anything like super glaringly horrible about any of them. And for the most part, all the judges, I mean, they loved all of them. There was no like, oh, this is horrible. They definitely loved all of them and appreciated all the work and effort that went into them. But there was definitely one that stuck out to them. Across the board, I mean, they all agree that's their number one, and it came out with the points anyway. And yeah, like I said, this is always the hardest part because I wish I could just, I wish I had the unlimited resources. Even just doing this is kind of a bit stretched for me, but I wish I could support like even like second, third, fourth, whatever number of prizes for people, but unfortunately I can't. And so going forward with the first place, like I said, I don't announce. I'm sorry, I'm kind of dragging this out, aren't I? For people that want to know, and who knows, maybe we already just skipped to the end anyway. But I don't announce like second, third, fourth, because really it's just there's only the one prize for first, and I mean the others did so great. Like you could really just say they all got second, honestly, because they're all so close. But again, there was one, so I'm going to switch this over. I'm going to try to split screen this again and then pull up the winner. So let's see here if I can do this. And boom, boom, there we go. So congratulations to Ben Woodford with his Chaos Sorcerer. Again, like I said, and try to kind of express some of the critiques in the other ones was either the wow factor or the, I guess, risk taken were kind of the things that worked against the other participants in this one, where there was definitely some wow factor with just the overall look of this model. He's very menacing looking sorcerer. He definitely looks like he could be a final boss. But the other thing is there's definitely like obvious risk taken with the conversion, as in like you can see and tell where, oh, that's where those legs came from, that's where this part came from, this bit came from. But it's not like it's just cobbled together. Not that any of them were cobbled together. They all were seamless together. But this one, you can definitely tell, like, this part of his arm does not go to that part of his arm. And those legs don't go to that torso. And normally don't go together. Because we all know that especially with the Primaris legs, they usually have a torso already attached to them. Now, they're not the multi-part kind of things that the old Space Marine kits were. Definitely some work was done to convert him into what we see in front of us right now. So, yeah, so if you haven't participated in one of these yet, I definitely encourage you to check out the other videos in this playlist and to check out the other quarter winners and this quarter, and kind of just, again, look at the critiques and everything, and going forward, if you want to participate in the third and fourth quarter challenges, and kind of take what they're saying to your own conversions, if you wish to participate and have a good chance of winning, because these little kind of pros and cons that I'm sharing are also there to, kind of help those in the future quarters. I essentially kind of get a leg up, and that's where I feel I'm seeing already through this one, the competition's already stepped up, and hopefully they watched the other video, and maybe they did or didn't. I would assume and think that they have, because like I said, I still think the other quarter could be on par with these, but there is a little bit level up, I think, and I hopefully that continues. And then when the end of the year comes, there will be a final round for the 4 quarter champions, that hopefully they will all be still around and able to contact and willing to participate in the end of the year finale to this whole kind of, I guess, kind of big project that I've kind of tried to get out the ground, that I've been trying to find a way to make a kind of a cool challenge that I haven't seen before. And we've all seen conversion challenges and stuff, but I wanted to kind of make this more like, if you haven't seen my other videos, like the show on History Channel, Forges and Fire. I really like the way that they bring very talented people into the forge to make, basically they get a certain amount of time to make all the same kind of like weapon or knife or whatever, and then their two final competitors get sent home to their home forges to make a larger, some sort of weapon, from history or whatever it may be. And that's kind of what I wanted to bring to this. So but yeah, so going forward, like I said, I foresee it continually to get better and better. Just another thing I want to throw out there too, if you do wish to participate, like I said, you're more than welcome to. But the one caveat though is if you have already won a previous quarter, which now there's only been 2, you cannot participate in the third or fourth quarter. If you've participated in the first or second quarter and did not win, you're still more than welcome to continue to participate in the further quarters and continue to try and grab one of those other 2 spots that will be for the I guess the championship circle, where we go into the end of the year, where I will have a challenge for the final 4, if you will, of the overall quarter champions for their quarter. But yeah, so I guess with all that being said, thank you for watching. Please check out the rest of the videos I got on the channel, and also check out the Facebook page in the link below. I got a lot going on there. I try to update that regularly. It's a little bit easier to update that than it is always to get the videos out, because again, like my daytime job is pretty time intensive, and then I have a family of 3 young kids and 1 more on the way, so very, very busy. And sometimes, lately, a lot of times the hobby has to take a back burner. So with all that being said, thanks for watching, and until next time.